are you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Brian Adam Pierce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Brian Adam Pierce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like country muscle. If you sour like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got two is where you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. My name is Lachlan Albert, and the last time there was mayhem at the factory, this man almost got fired. It's Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, my friend. It's good to see you back, mate. We've been passing ships in the night.
We have been. Always a bit of chaos keeping us apart, but finally, the two of us get to go old school and review some Aussie wrestling together. Very nice to do. And speaking of Aussie wrestling, there is so much going on. We are kicking into Wrestle Rampage Mayhem at the Factory tonight, a show where there was a big title change. There was lots of stuff with people from other companies getting a good shine in. There was fun, chaos, and if you want to check it out, it's... What is it, Todd?
It's free on YouTube.
It's free on YouTube! So if you're listening to the podcast version of Making Chicken Salad, you can get that link down there in the comments. If you are watching us live, hopefully you've seen the show and you can be part of the conversation like Roddy Online is right now. Good to see you, Roddy. You can head on over to YouTube, search for Wrestle Rampage. It's up for free on there. And just check it out. It's listed as a 3-hour show. You take out a intermission. It's about half an hour, about 10 minutes off the start for waiting time. It's a solid two and a bit hour show with some good wrestling on it. I reckon it's worth checking out.
Before we get into that, mate, do you want to talk about the breaking news?
Yeah, let's go talk about the breaking news quickly. So Oceania Pro Wrestling, OPW, have literally within the last hour, right, put out an announcement. So this is fresh breaking. The Oceania Pro Wrestling upcoming conflict in Ballarat has been cancelled. I'll read the official statement. Due to unforeseen organisational challenges that would prevent us from delivering the high-quality event our major partner, Ballarat City Council, and our fans deserve, we have made the difficult decision to cancel conflict in Ballarat. We sincerely apologise for any inconvenience this may cause. All ticket purchases will be fully refunded directly by the venue. OPW is committed to making a strong comeback in 2026, with plans to rebook the Bell of the Brawl for January 10th and other key matches from this event, and a major event for 2026 in the line of StarCast Down Under and Impact Down Under. So OPW making it very clear they're not going away with their plans for 2026, But this is not the kind of news that inspires confidence in a brand, right, Todd?
No, it really doesn't. It's like they'd sold what, 30 tickets to those two shows over the next that were going it. I'm pretty sure that that's roughly what I'm talking about around the thing. Like, there has to be a time where eventually you say, hey, something we're doing isn't working. Maybe we should change that up. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah,
and
if you look back to like what they were originally doing with Starcast Down Under, right? Because that's the one I look at as the really big event that they did manage to pull off. That had names like Bret Hart and Eric Bischoff and the Great Khali. You know, like the people that were on the show were really big names. Looking at the card to try to get people to Ballarat this time around, I'm not seeing those draws even from within the Australian wrestling scene. And if the people that you want to see are Adam Brooks, you know, you can go to MC Dub for that. Is it worth having the trip out to Ballarat? So there's some question marks there for me. Sorry to interrupt you there, Todd.
No. You're 100% right. Like what's his name? Bloody, like Brian Idol is not pulling fans. Like Natalia Markova is not pulling fans out to Ballarat. You know what I mean? And Roddy Online said, is that the one in Wagga Wagga? It was originally the first iteration of OPW was in Wagga Wagga. They did something with was it TNA or Impact? It was called Impact back then. But they actually, for that one, they actually jumped into the breach because that was a New Japan show that got cancelled. And so OPW sort of jumped into the breach and worked out a deal with Impact to set up what was and looked like a really good weekend on paper. I don't know how well it drew, but yeah. And I know StarCast drew well, but I don't know if it drew to what they hoped it would. But ever since then, like anytime they've tried to run anything without sort of like a quote-unquote gimmick, it's not really worked for them. Like, I don't think Ballarat is a massive hub for wrestling. Like,
no, I think that like what they're saying in this, you know, statement clearly centers Ballarat City Council as a very major partner in this, right? There's obviously, I think, a lot going on with trying to put on these events in Ballarat because the city council is looking for that tourism element of it, right? So there's definitely question marks around if you're trying to make this an event that brings people into a town, what level of name do you have to get to bring those people in? Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, I know a couple of people who've been involved in the business side of OPW. They're brilliant guys, incredibly smart, but they know nothing about wrestling other than attending MCW shows. And I think that's reasonably clear in the kind of cards that are coming together, right? It's Adam Brooks versus Brian Idol. And like, no offense to Brian Idol, but we're the 1% of wrestling knowledge in Australia. Like, Todd, how many Brian Idol matches have you seen off the top of your head?
Counting the one that he would have had against Brooksy?
Sure.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, that's right. So,
probably wouldn't have ended up seeing that one either.
That's exactly right. This is where we're at, right? And we're the guys who watch all the wrestling. You know what I mean? So when we are saying these aren't names that mean a lot to us, like, what does that mean?
NWA aren't really a... Well, they're not even like... You think about the biggest indies in America, they're not what you think of when you think of them. Are they? Like, I think off the top of my head, I think MLW, GCW, Yawning Gap, and then I probably would forget NWA. Like, I couldn't tell you who the NWA champion is. I think it's EC3, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Yeah, like you list off those major names, and then I start going, remember PWG? Like, that comes to my head before NWA does. You know what I mean? It's not the kind of thing you're looking for.
They had a nice that first, like, iteration of them coming back when they did the filming in the studio when it looked like the old school feel and all that. That was cool. But then, I don't know if that was probably before COVID. So, like, a lot of things happened with COVID.
Like, who was a champion in that promotion? LA Knight. Like, it's not like that was something where we're looking at the past couple of years. Like, that was a while back. So...
But, like, it also has to be, like... I think it's a classic case of trying to, like, run before you can crawl. And a lot of people, like, a lot of companies, a lot of promotions, like, fall in that category where they try and run before they can walk. Like, just as an example, and I know we don't really talk about them because it's who they are, but bloody, like, Deathmatch Down Under tried to run before they could walk. Like, instead of, like, we talked about with the whole thing with the school and that back in the day, but instead of, like, having enough crowds where they could just afford to buy a place, they thought, no, we're going to crowdfund it. Instead of actually building up an audience. Like, OPW don't have a built-in audience, especially in Ballarat. And I don't think they're even marketing it, like, for people in Ballarat. The idea of it would be to bring tourists in. I couldn't see people bringing tourists in for Australia versus India. I couldn't see them bringing in for, like, this NWA thing. I don't know how they're going to dig out of this, put it that way. I have no idea how they will dig themselves out of this.
And especially if you look at, like, really, they're not the only game in town in bringing internationals down. And it feels like when World Series Wrestling seems to be getting bigger every tour with the names that they're able to bring and the consistency of those names, right? Both of the last two tours have had Cardona and Nemeth around the top of the card. And then you add in your Danhausens and your, like, that's a big draw. And the people who are international wrestling fans are getting those big names through World Series. Do they have to travel to Ballarat because you've got some NWA guys? Absolutely not, because they're going to see, WWE World Heavyweight Champions coming to their nearest capital city. So a guy like Idol is not going to attract that attention, unfortunately. I would love if it did. I would love if that's the kind of place wrestling was in Australia. Don't get me wrong. That's the dream. But right now, it's not. And even when you look at, the companies that we do have that have the best talent in the world, there are shows not selling out here.
Yeah. But when they announced the show, we looked at it and went, well, that's not really a viable thing for us to go to. Like, it wasn't really something that there's no real interest in us going to cover it. Like, if Jeff wants to make the drive to Ballarat, he'd be more than welcome to, but it was not something that I would be like, okay, I'm gonna fly to Victoria to fly to, like, Starcast. There was a reason I wanted to see Bret Hart. I wanted to see, like, Eric Bischoff. I wanted that. There was my reasons for that. Like, I saw nothing in, like, Brooksy. That's cool. I'll probably book Brooksy at Wide Bay coming up. So I don't need to travel down to see Brooksy. No offense, Brooksy.
And look, Matt in the chat is saying Ballarat is a big country city, and the old local fed back in the early 2010s were drawing 400 plus crowds. Definitely a market there. Hopefully OPW can make things work next year. Fully agree, Matt, but what you're saying is that people in Ballarat would go to the wrestling, right? They weren't drawing in from the cities.
Yeah, man, and I've been on a Ballarat pro wrestling show. So, like, they were drawing back then, but it's like, I think you have to start small. And the idea of OPW was never to start small. That's how they got funding from the government, I would assume, because they sold them the idea of this is going to be a big promotion and we're going to center it here. It's going to draw thousands of people to your city and bring money to your city, would be the idea of it. Not, okay, we're going to start here and we're going to build a local crowd. I don't think OPW's ever been to build a local crowd, unfortunately. Like, if somebody wanted to go and base themselves in Ballarat, they could probably, like you said, Matt, they could probably do well because it's a big country city. Like, if you wanted to base yourself there, that's fine. But when you're trying to just have, and you're not marketing to that local base, you're marketing to the country. Like, fly in and see Brian Idol. Like, it's...
because that's the difference in Australia, right? That's the difference in Australia is if you're the NWA and Brian Idol is one state over, you can drive for a couple of hours and see Brian Idol, and that's true for a whole bunch of different cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Ballarat, Melbourne is the only capital city in possible driving distance, really. People aren't driving from Sydney to Ballarat. It's not happening. So you're talking about necessarily getting people flying interstate to come see the show for what you're looking at to get those government grants. Because MCW are doing great business. MCW are not getting sponsorships from the city, right?
No, MCW are doing great. MCW are doing great business and great business at Thornbury Theatre. OPW couldn't sell the Thornbury out when they did that show there.
Yep.
Like, they just haven't built enough name recognition before trying this big leap. And like my hat's literally off to Cam for trying it. But it's like you need any good house needs a foundation. And the foundation has never been there. It's always been like a lot of glitz and like, this is what I'm going to show. Here's like, we've done partnerships with someone in Qatar and another promotion, like I think, was it MLW? Yeah, they did a promotion, like a partnership with MLW.
I think so, yeah.
And then Maple Leaf Pro. And like MLW, that's cool because they do have some very decent friends. Maple Leaf Pro don't really have a roster.
No, they are
so it's like
the grassroots of grassroots at the moment.
Yeah. So look, I hope next year this happens, and I hope they have some success. But right now, it's looking very, very FWA-ish, very.
And we had a blast when we went down to OPW, right? When we went down to StarCast, we had an awesome time. It was excellent working with Cam. Like what we got to do there was fantastic. The amount of people that we interacted with, and like absolutely blown away by it. And Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, let's not forget the fruits of the Qatar Pro Alliance. Like,
hey, how dare you besmirch the good name of Classy Ali?
But I definitely think that, like what Matty Huss is pointing out, that they could draw 400 plus people for a show in Ballarat that's with local talent. That's not flying people in. If they can build up a promotion in Ballarat that can have a couple of hundred people regularly attend, and then once a year you go, and now we're doing the big blowout show where we attract everyone from around Australia, and that's when the city of Ballarat is going to be a major partner, because we can get those people coming in, and we've got a big name. We've got, the Mustafa Ali, that we're going to have the Mustafa Ali versus Brooksy rematch, and that'll get people heading down there, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that happens as a one-off.
Yeah, from what I sort of gather from the discussions we've had and like talks I've had with Cam, like Ballarat was never a base for them. Like OPW was always going to be like a traveling show.
Yeah,
like he was looking at like
it's a promotion that exists in Australia.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's going to be very interesting going forward, and like. I wish him the best of luck, but like looking from like I always say, like a 5,000 foot view, it doesn't look the best. Like it doesn't look like the best outcome for them at the moment, because I don't know how many times you have to try and retool something to work before you realize, hang on, maybe the thing just doesn't work.
Yeah. Matty Huss has pointed out that the lesson here is that the draw in Ballarat is Todd. When you get Todd, you get the money. And I've been saying that for a long time.
Well, what's the thing at Pro League? Ticket selling Todd?
Yeah, that's it. You stick Todd on the poster, it's a sellout. Jamie Apps in the chat saying hard to build a core fan base with that strategy. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges said what you've just described, Lachlan, is kind of Slam's model without the internationals. It even has the similarities of Canberra as a regional city, and that end-of-year show they run sells gangbusters, right?
Yeah.
Imagine...
But that's because they put roots down. Like, Slam's put roots down in Canberra. Like, OPW have got no plans of doing that with Ballarat. Like, as far as I can see. But, like, it feels like OPW is like a renter promotion. And they're trying to sell themselves like a mini version of, like, WWE and AEW. Hey, you bring us to your town and we're going to sell tickets and bring, like, tourists in. Which is hard to do, like, hard to say. And I'm amazed he actually got it over the line. Like, that tells you how good a businessman he must be, because he had no real track record in being able to do that before getting this quote-unquote deal, and I don't know what the deal is, with Ballarat. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and you also have to be thinking, how many times is this going to happen before Ballarat sort of, like, pull the plug themselves? Like, the city of Ballarat going, hey, look, you've tried 3 times, bro, it's not working. We're going to have to. Anyway, we'll see what's going up on that.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, to me, it's just like Andy brought up with Slam. If the model of it was that it has some established foundation, and then once a year they do bring in a big international, and like, who's the MLW champ at the moment? Is it Riddle? Like, it's like, okay, here's our big blowout show where we get a big international. And I think that could work. But just looking at, the names they're bringing in don't equate to people coming in. The Australian, like, local great talent don't equate to people coming in. I hope they can work something out, because, again, I had a blast. I love watching wrestling. I love when wrestling's popular in Australia. And Jamie Apps has nailed it. The Wagga and Ballarat shows were fun for what they were, but not a must-travel for. And that's what they're trying to create. So,
yeah, let's face it. StarCast wasn't like the idea of going to StarCast wasn't to watch those shows. It was to go to those, like, not the meet and greets.
The meet and greets and the panels and, like, the fact that there were shows was the kicker that made you go, okay, I do have to go, because I'm getting 2 good nights of wrestling shows as well. But without those shows, there was still appeal, right? So I think it needs to be a combination of factors. And I, again, really hope that they do manage to get a miracle out of this, because I would love for OPW to be a name across Australia that gets people wherever they are. I'm just...
Yeah, and
it
also
seems like that's not what's happening.
No, and also put a spotlight on up-and-coming, like, workers in the country. So, like, any chance for
exactly.
Like, up-and-coming workers in Australia to be able to work more is, like, that's what the goal is. For us, anyway.
Yeah.
Try and make Australian wrestling as strong as possible.
Exactly. And speaking of strong Australian wrestling, hey, let's talk about a show that's free on YouTube. That's right. It's Wrestle Rampage's Mayhem at the Factory, coming to you. Well, when it was on, it was live from the factory, the Lion Factory Arts Theatre. Yeah, it was on last week. It was live on YouTube. So the YouTube version that you're getting is a live broadcast. Now, we've talked about this before. I think it's worth having the discussion up top. That means that the production here, not going to be 100% top shelf, best thing you've ever seen production-wise. There's a little bit of shaky camera work that just comes... That's the nature of having people around the ring with handheld cameras. It's going to be a little bit wobbly. They've got one hard cam, but it's over above the commentary desk, so you get it at an interesting angle. There's some interesting stuff going on just in terms of that. There's also the classic one-man commentary booth, which I can tell you from experience, hard yakka. It's hard having the show run by yourself on commentary with no one to bounce off. So, credit for making it work, but you can feel the spots where there's those little gaps in it. You can feel sometimes when people get on a mic, it's a little bit difficult to hear. But that is the trade-off for being able to broadcast live when this happened. And it meant that when there was a big title match, it was going out to everyone at the same time, which is very impressive and, worth noting. I still don't know that I like this approach better than recording it, giving it an edit, and putting it up nicely a week later.
Yeah. Yeah, I like... I think they kind of need to work on their lighting more still. It's still very good. And maybe just buy those guys, the camera guys, some gimbals.
Yeah. Yep. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, I've been critical of their live production before, but for a live show, I thought this sounded good and looks great. This building looks mint when the production isn't so distracting. I will say that I think this is by far the best production they've had on one of these live broadcasts.
Yeah. Like they are getting better.
Oh, yeah. And as much as we're, calling it out at the top because it is noticeable, it's getting to the point where it is less noticeable. And if it continues on this trend, it's going to get to the point where we don't have to mention it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either to that point or they make the pivot and give it some edits beforehand. But yeah, just be aware going in, know what it is before you go and watch it for free on YouTube, link in the description. Roddy says, was the sound noticeably good? It can be a deal breaker, honestly. It wasn't noticeably good, but I don't think it was noticeably bad. I think sometimes you end up with this weird balance where, and Todd knows this from trying to edit wide bay shows especially, the audio that you're capturing off the cameras going around the ring, plus the audio from the commentary desk, plus you end up with some weirdness in matching it all up. And the thing that often bugs me when you get these live productions is the sound of the microphone. So you're getting their voice through the microphone, out through the speakers, back into the microphone of the camera, and it sounds abysmal, right?
Yeah.
That's always the worst part. In this show, you can understand what they are saying through the microphone. It's not much better than you can understand it, but the fact that you can understand it is notable. It means that it does the job. It's watchable, right?
Yes.
But let's get into the wrestling straight up, because Will Gibson was here first, wrecking ball himself to take on Reesby. I have to note before we go into this that I love Will Gibson and Nick Armstrong. And you knew that I had to mention this straight away, Todd.
Yeah, I was going to as well. So
the tag team name Nick and Balls is so funny. It is so funny that they are Nick and Balls.
Especially when I think it was later on in the show, Nick during the promo was like, "Are you staring at my balls?"
Yeah.
Just made me holler.
Bing! Just hitting it on the nose, getting the big pop from it, and then moving on. Little stuff like that goes a long way. And the team of Nick and Will is, I think, really clever because Will Gibson is so clearly what he is. He is a big, threatening-looking dude. And Nick Armstrong is so clearly the opposite end of the heel spectrum. He is a weedy little jerk of a man who won't put his tongue away. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not saying that he's a small dude, but compared to Will Gibson, he's much more of the lithe, slimy guy, right?
Yeah.
So having them together and you've got an intimidating force in Gibson and someone to just piss you off in the form of Nick. Love them as a team. I think this Reevesy debut ? I was a little bit lost on that with the commentary. I thought it was pretty good, and for an opener, having two big meaty men slap meat for 7 minutes works for me. I think everything they did looked pretty good. They hit hard. They got the crowd into it. I think this was a solid opener. Todd?
Yeah, very much. The first two matches here, sort of you could almost meld them into a one, because it was one ongoing segment kind of thing.
Exactly, because immediately after Will Gibson got the win here, Nick Armstrong then swapped into the ring and called out Sean Thomas, commentator for Wrestle Rampage, and managed to get the win over him in about as long a time, about 6 minutes. Obviously, this was a wrestler versus non-wrestler match, which I'm normally pretty wary of, I guess both. But Sean Thomas held his own here. But they did something that I like, which is even when Sean Thomas got that little spot of the ref was looking away and he hit the low blow and he hit the DDT, he's not beating the champ with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nick Armstrong's a wrestler. He's going to win a wrestling match here. Right? Sean managed to get that little bit of revenge for the nonsense that's gone on. And that's good. Landing the low blow, getting that. But Nick is the wrestler, so he wins the wrestling match. Ranger Mitch mentions that Reesby debuted a show or two ago, technically, but the match was cut short. So yeah, a good performance to open the show from him. And I think Sean Thomas, for the role that he was in, played it really well. But I mostly like that Sean took a lot of the punishment in the match and didn't win the match, but looked respectable doing it. I think that's the way to go. Do you agree, Todd?
Yeah, 100%.
I was going to say, as someone who's been in a similar role to that, as the manager who gets in the ring, like that seems to be the way that you typically go in those matches. Not to critique your wrestling ability too much.
Well, I don't really have any. It's mine was more like smoke and mirrors. Here's the thing, like I have been trained, but I shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think, like that's what you're getting with someone like Sean Thomas, which I enjoy. After this, we went for a bit of a longer one here with Punch Drunk Istria's open mat gauntlet match. I was a little bit surprised by exactly what this is because I saw Gauntlet and I expected one thing, and it was not that, right? So this was, if you ever watched Lucha Underground, where the way they did their rumbles there, where it was like a pinfall rumble, is kind of what this was. You had people coming out every couple of minutes, added to the match, eliminated by pinfall or submission, rope breaks count. So it's like a normal match, but elimination style, and the competitors come every couple of minutes. A match concept that I love. I really enjoy. Piers in the chat, evening Piers. So the layout of this match had Punch Drunk Istria starting the match up against Joey, why am I forgetting his last name? Help me out here. Here, Todd.
Well, it's just Joey at the moment. Like
Joey at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Joey...
former tag team partner, right? Yeah. So that's the gimmick that's going on here is they're kind of a tag team, but they're not. Joey Graham, thank you. They were a tag team. They're wearing the tag team gear. They're getting along, but they kind of don't like each other and not teaming anymore. And Joey would like to be a team, but Istria wants to be a singles guy now. And that's a story that runs through most of the match. What we end up getting is Istria eliminating Amir Assad, then Istria eliminating Wham Bam Bellows after some double teaming with Joey. Axe Massacre makes her way into this match, gets disqualified for just wailing on people with a kendo stick and then leaves, which, way to establish a character quickly, have her on the show, but not have her have to do anything. I thought that was great. Then we had Wes Ryan gets eliminated by Istria. Joey gets eliminated by Istria after immediately saving Istria from getting eliminated, which is a little bit of fun business. And then Istria manages to eliminate Link Barnett. But then the last person makes their way to the ring as Leah Lovegrove. And essentially Leah gets a one-on-one match with Istria here, which she manages to win, get the victory. I think this was a really clever way to do this because it gives Leah a chance to come out fresh against a heel who is theoretically worn down a bit because he's been, cheating to get victories for 15 minutes at this point already. So there's a believability to Leah being able to get the win here without it looking terrible on Istria that he lost to a fresher competitor. But it also gives Leah that big win that people weren't necessarily expecting from her, gives her a chance to celebrate, get that big crowd pop moment. I really liked that part of the construction of this match, even though a couple of other parts were a bit confusing to me. Todd, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, the ongoing story too was like, if she had to win a match to prove to Link Barnett that they could team still. Would be a tag
yes,
team.
That's right.
So that was the ongoing thing. So the end sort of like had Link somewhat unfortunately involved in it. So, but yeah, I liked it. Like it was like Leah is like that fan favorite of the crowd that they feel is one of their own.
Yes,
and she really plays into that quite well. I love it. And like
reminds me of like NXT Bailey.
Yeah. And honestly, for someone who kind of knows Istria, I kind of feel like this match was just him wanting to fuck around for 20 minutes. And I'll put her over, but let me have some fun for 20 minutes before I do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When it first started, and I heard it, I'm like, okay, they're going to blood like some of their rookies through this thing. And then But then like Joey comes out and Wes Ryan comes out and Barnett and Bam Bam. I'm like, Jesus, Bam Bam's been around since like Wham Bam's been around since day dot. So we're not trying to get rookies on here. It's just Istria being Istria, really. But yeah, I liked it. And like did the job it had to do. Like he sold losing so well as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good work by Istria on this one.
Yep. Absolutely. Like I kind of famously wish that I liked Istria's work a little more. I don't know why. I just have trouble connecting with it sometimes, but I think this had enough character to it the whole way through that when you got to see Istria wrestling the way Istria does, it gave it that little bit of oomph to make me more attached to it. So I liked it a lot. After that was what I thought was a complete and utter belter. This was Tommy Knight taking on Kai Toa. Now, really simple story here. Kai Toa is debuting at Wrestle Rampage. Tommy Knight is Tommy fucking Knight. And so they go into the match and Kai Toa gets absolutely decimated for a little while. And then, Kai Toa just refuses to go down. He will not die. He keeps getting up. He keeps making those little openings. And then when he does, he capitalizes on them. He's got such incredible high-flying acumen. He's got the skill. He's not going to quit at any moment. You get this wicked bit at the end where Tommy Knight hits the superplex from the top straight into a brain buster. And then Kai Toa kicks out at 2. And Knight just goes, nah. This is over now, and hits him with the brain buster. But at the end, you get that show of respect. This is how you debut someone in Kai Toa. This is how you make a former champion look like a scary monster beast while they're not immediately in a title picture for Tommy Knight. This is almost 20 minutes of what I thought was really, really excellent professional wrestling. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think this did more to like introduce and present Kai Toa better than I think I've seen him in Riot City.
Yeah,
and that's saying, being that I'm really fucking like I'm not really unbiased when it comes to Riot City. Riot City is my heart, but I think they did a better job in like showing that crowd that this kid's someone that's going to be someone to reckon with.
Yeah.
Just by just the strength of not giving up. And when he did get offense, he got that offense that was really like the ooh and ah of the crowd in smart spots. Not spots for the sake of spots.
But it was always scrappy the whole way. Like, it was never like, oh, watch me do a triple flip off the top rope. It was like, no, I'm going to get this quick scorpion kick in. And then that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, I thought this was phenomenal. I don't know if I've seen a debut this good in the last few years for a promotion. I loved it.
The only thing I don't like, and I'm probably going to be in the very much the minority in this, and I was talking about it this week with some of the guys, is I kind of hate brainbusters as like a finisher or even as a move, because really 9 times out of 10, it just looks like a normal suplex.
It's a suplex. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like...
I don't disagree. And like, I love Tommy's moveset, and I think that, he's a guy who makes the brainbuster feel like it matters, but it often looks like
it was Jonah's... Yeah, it was Jonah's thing. So like, I get why he's got it. But like, someone like Tommy Knight, just a big fuck off lariat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Just one of
do the world's strongest slam.
Yeah, but
clothesline from hell.
The problem with clothesline from hell. The problem with the world's strongest slam is now that's been moved to sort of like a transition move or a falsie for a lot of people now.
Yeah, but people still do DDTs.
Yeah, I know, but like, how many do them for finishes?
That's what I'm saying. Like the AEW World Champion does.
Well, no, that's not supposed to be a DDT. He just does the move shitty. Like it's supposed to be. No, it's supposed to be that finisher is supposed to be technically a chicken wing, or what do they call it? The double arm,
double underhook,
like a double underhook brainbuster. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
but it never really is. Sometimes it's a DDT. Sometimes it's just a double arm suplex, underhook suplex. Like it changes depending on who it is taking it. That's one that was brought up in the same conversation when we were talking about brainbusters. I was just like, that is shit too, because it's never the same move. Like it should look like the same every time, and it never does.
I want to like a brainbuster. Weirdly, I actually like the turnbuckle brainbuster more because it always looks like
it kills
what it's supposed to look like. But it's fucking dangerous. So that's why it ends up looking like a suplex, is because it's dangerous.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is going to sound really weird, but the best person I've ever seen give a brainbuster is probably Coco Beware.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, right?
And like, that's why I think, because like I see his and I'm like, that's what a suplex looks like. That's what a brainbuster should look like. And then I see these others, like, well, that's just a suplex.
Alex has got a point. In Japan, a standard suplex is a brainbuster, and what we call a brainbuster, that's a sheer drop brainbuster. Like, part of it is that translation thing where when you've got people who work in Japan a lot, what they're calling brainbusters is what we would just call a suplex. And then what we think of as a brainbuster, they're not doing, right? Maddie Huss says a good old-fashioned Oklahoma slam into a heavy lariat would be a great combo for Tommy.
100%.
Can I have a really weird take here? I think guys like Tommy should finish more matches with moves that aren't finishes. Right? I know that the running gag. The running gag that I always make is I really want to see someone tap out to a chinlock, right? Because otherwise, why are you doing that damn move if it's not going to finish a match at some point? But
because it's to wear someone down.
I know, but come on, just have someone tap out to a chinlock, please. No, the point that I'm making is that like chops are damaging people, right? A big boot is damaging someone. Every time you hit a lariat, it's damaging someone. Whether it's your finisher or not, like at some point, match has to be over because they're too damaged to continue. Ranger Mitch in the chat says exactly the right thing. It's like when Gunther finishes matches with half his moveset, right? Like, what is Gunther's finisher?
It's that powerbomb.
He's a world champ. He's got the powerbomb as his technical finisher, but I can just imagine him winning with any move that he does.
It's
because
like
it always feels like he's doing moves.
Is the two that he primarily uses.
What he typically finishes with. But, like, again, the lariat doesn't feel like it's a named finisher thing, right? Mm-hmm. Roddy Online says, I feel like Joey Janela didn't have a finisher for, like, 8 years. That's probably because he didn't win a match in, like, 8 years. Anyway, moving on to...
which is really funny. Moving on. Which is really... A funny story is, like, when Mitch and I first started working together... Somebody's like, oh, what's your finisher? And Mitch looks at me and goes, I've never actually finished anyone before.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, shit, we better think of something.
Better come up with something quick. At least something you can fake out. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the top end of this card with 2 Wrestle Rampage Australian national title matches. The first for the tag team titles. This one had the team of Misery Loves Company, Amber and Gothic Greg, taking on the Kings of Ruin in the form of Mickey Fortune and Zach Sabbath. This one ending in double countout, so Misery Loves Company retaining those titles. After the match, Zach Sabbath getting on the mic and asking for 5 more minutes because a double countout's not satisfying. Then you get our favorite named team in the world in the form of Nick and Balls coming out and saying, well, they want a tag match. They each won their matches at the start of the show. They're in line for a tag title match. Then you get Leah Lovegrove and Link Barnett coming out, and Link says, well, I promised Leah that if she won a match, then I'd tag with her, and she just beat Istria. So how about we get a chance?
She's only just gone and bloody done it. That made me laugh so much when he said that.
Like, good stuff. And Gothic Greg grabs the mic and says, no, we're going. and does.
We're taking our toys and we're going home.
And then we get, in a moment that I love, everyone just like sad Snoopy walking out of the ring. Like, oh, okay. And everyone just kind of files out. I thought that was hilarious.
That's a constant thing. Like when we think of these ideas, we never actually think about how it's going to end. Because you know what, when you watch wrestling on TV and the segment ends, it goes to a commercial break. So you never actually, like, so what are 8 people going to do standing in the ring? I guess they're just going to walk out. I guess.
Yeah. Womp womp. But I think that like probably unsurprisingly, I thought this tag match was really fun. Right? Look at the 4 people that you've got here.
You know what I loved about this match is that they did the normal, like, well, not the normal thing, but like in days gone by, it would have always been the girls just doing like little silly stuff and then tagging into the guys. That's when the serious wrestling happens. Do you know what I mean? 100% different in this. Like it was like Greg and Zach really doing some comedy spots. And then when you tagged into Mickey and Amber, Mickey was just coming in, I'm going to fuck some shit up now. Like she got in that ring and I think I even said it out loud because I was watching it at work and I was like, she looks like a fucking star.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
she looked incredible.
Yeah. Just that international spot that they did with Zach, and I originally thought he was just going to do that spot where, the guy like stands off,
he rests off to the side and runs back and forth. Yeah.
But then starts cheering him on to keep running. And not just like, instead he was like, I'll get back involved.
I got to jump over her and I'll lift the leg.
Yeah. And then I thought that was great. And like, that's one of those things too where like Greg, like people don't realize how good a wrestler, a good worker Greg Graham is. Fucking unbelievable. As Gothic Greg, as Gorgeous Greg, as like Greg when he was like really heavy heel Greg. Underratedly, probably and this is no shot to Tommy Knight, to Istria, probably the most versatile worker on that roster. And like Zach is Zach. One of the best workers in the country. Again, another one of those guys that we like, it's the best worker in the country. People just don't really realize how good he is. He's able to switch up from being like full on, flat out wrestling, let's fucking kill this thing, blah, 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 worker, to let's do this comedy spot and we'll have people laughing for it. And have people just forget for that slight second that Zach could be a killer at any time. So, like, that's what I really loved about this match, too. I love the fact that it was more the girls were the psychopaths, and it felt like Greg and Zach were just having a little bit of fun. And then I was like, oh, shit, okay, they're actually really angry with each other. We should probably help.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
what it felt like when I was watching it.
And, like, the other thing that I liked about this is the finish, from a champion's perspective, makes sense. They're beating the tar out of each other, and it's like, okay, we did this whole ridiculous thing where we did a dive to the outside and landed on the crowd. I will say, really lucky they landed on the section of crowd that were all young, fit men wearing Wrestle Rampage shirts. I don't know how they managed that. But lucky them. But I think that if you're Amber in that situation, it makes a whole lot of sense to go, oh, Mickey's about to break the count. I'm just going to stop her and this match can go to count out. And that's a title defense for us, right? Like, that makes sense. And it fits Amber's character. And it gives Kings of Ruin justification to want more match because they've gone, hey, you didn't pin either of us. You didn't make one of us tap out. You held us back from continuing the match. That's all you could do. Yeah. So there's future there, but then also it came off a ridiculous spot. So it seems justified. I have so much that I enjoyed about this match. And I think all 4 of the people involved are absolute superstars. Obviously, I won't shut up about Mickey Fortune, but... Yeah, I know you've said it many times, but I'm saying it now. Like Oz Pro Wrestling
fucking like MCW, fucking Renegades. Well, not so much EPW because they don't really have that many, like a roster of women's wrestlers. But like, I don't know why she's not on a Renegade show or a MCW show. Because, like, and no offense to them, like Mickey is head and shoulders better than a lot of those girls on that roster. Like, she just is. It's not a. It's just she is a fucking great worker, and she deserves that chance to show Australia how good a worker she is.
We talked about.
I'd love to see her there.
We talked about for months with MCW the fact that they were doing the big Delta Jessica Troy feud, which was a woman from Adelaide versus a woman from Sydney, that they were doing in Melbourne for months. And then after that was finished, they had Delta as the champion from Adelaide taking on a guy for the women's championship. And we spoke about it felt like there was just kind of a little bit of a shallow talent pool there for women who were ready for that stage. Man, if Mickey Fortune isn't just the answer to that problem, I don't know what is.
Like, tell me, like, if Eugenie drops that belt to Erica, tell me that you don't want to see Erica Reed versus Mickey Fortune. Tell me you don't want to see that fucking match, because that would tear.
That'd blow the roof off places. Jesus Christ! And Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges calls it. Says she had that one really good match at Renegades against Aisha. I don't know why she hasn't been back. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's not personality, because she is an absolutely lovely person. You know what I mean? Like, this is Matty Huss says, just last week on WRA, you were talking about who could be the 1A to Erica's 1. Seems like an answer is right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's Mickey Bloody Fortune. God, she's good. Anyway, but like, kudos to everyone in that match. Really excellently done. Fun promos afterwards. Great stuff. But let's talk about the big main event, and probably the reason that this became the show that we were talking about this week as soon as it happened. That's the Wrestle Rampage Australian National title in a Hindley Street dog collar match. The champion, Hindley Street dog collar match.
Fucking hell. It's like calling Yatla Yatala. You just don't do it, brother.
Mate, I'm not from here. I have different customs. Havoc, the champion. Edward Dusk, the challenger, after a long road here. Tie their fucking throats together and let them at each other. Yes, let's go. This was, I think Havoc and Dusky are at a bit of an advantage here, because they're both guys who love a bit of plunder, love getting a bit of hardware involved in the matches. They're willing to go that extra mile. So when you've had this build up over months, and then you give them this opportunity to have a match where really there's no limiter on it. It's how do they want to pace it? What do they think they should do? And my concern when you get something like a dog collar match is that it tends to go one of two ways. Either the whole match is about the fact that there's a chain in between them, or they just have a wrestling match and there happens to be a chain in between them the whole time. I really like that this was a match where there were moments where it was a wrestling match, and then there were lots of moments where they used the stipulation to do things that they couldn't do otherwise, right? It'd be wrestle, and then someone takes advantage of the chain. And then wrestle a little bit more. And then, I'm going to tie his feet together with the chain. And then, I'm going to use the chain around his throat for a submission. But then I'm just going to go for my finisher. And, like, I love that it was integrated without taking away from the professional wrestling acumen of these guys and their ability to just tell a story with their bodies, right? Andy from Bob Backlund Fridges says, hook this Dusk presentation into my veins. It kind of bums me out that we got this weird baby face that I don't understand in Melbourne while this Edward Dusk is still cooking in Radelaide. Like, easy to agree there, right? Alex Feihart, by the way, says you'd think women from Adelaide would be brought over more often compared to women from Queensland or New South Wales in terms of, you know, getting these big spots. Easy to agree. I know that we're talking about Mickey Fortune, who's a Perth native. But, oh no, I'm totally wrong about that. Why have I got that in my head? She's from Adelaide. Why did I come up with that?
I don't know. Robbie Eagles has just messaged.
Get Robbie on the line.
Yep. No, you're wrong, brother.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Okay. No, I had, for some reason, I think you said EPW, and that was just stuck in my head. Anyway, no, you're absolutely right, Alex Fireheart. They should bring more of those Adelaide women over to just absolutely blow the roof off venues. But yeah, this Edward Dusk is incredible. I think the thing with Dusky in MCW is that they didn't want to pull the trigger too early. MCW and PWA both have that idea of giving things sufficient build, which is weird to say when I know that the champion was just Ricky in MCW when he kind of just got down there. But at the same time, that was Ricky, very well established, right? They're trying to give that slow build to Dusk, and Dusk is just so magnetic that it's impossible to keep him a heel forever. Nicolia says this match did so much violence with a single gimmick, it made a lot of deathmatch seem kind of piss weak by comparison, you know? Violence is impact and intent, not just contraptions. Absolutely agree, Nick, right? Crimson Masks here off moves where you go, yeah, that would cut your head open, right? Dusky biting into a guy's head. That's more hardcore than putting a guy through light tubes just because you've got some light tubes you want to use. Right? Biting a man's open wound is what deathmatch wrestling kind of that's violence. The headline here, by the way, Edward Dusk wins, becomes the new Australian national champion. Very quickly gets a lineup of challengers at the door as Tommy Knight comes out and Istria comes out, and
I don't know why Kaitoa went out there.
Kaitoa was also there, which confused me.
He literally just lost the match. I'm like, why are you there? I'm pretty sure Tommy was like, why are you here? I just beat you.
But I really like the way Dusk responded to it by getting on the mic and saying, no, this has been my rightful championship for the past few years, and yet I've had to go through tournaments and rumbles and this and that and the other. So none of you guys get a title shot. You have to go through what I went through. I'm not giving someone a title shot till they've been through hell. I love that as a heel champion gimmick. Is just, it's not that I don't want you to have a shot. It's that I went through hell. I suffered. Now you must suffer. Yeah. Beautiful. Right?
100%. Every good heel needs motivation that, although you might agree with, you can see where they're coming from.
Yeah. I have to, as the overanalyzer of pro wrestling on the podcast, I have to do some overanalysis. And again, I know that Edward Dusk is the kind of wrestler to put things in to reward overanalysis. It looked to me like his entrance gear, as much as I know the Dusk fur has been a recurring motif, that was the most that it has looked like Caveman Ugg's entrance gear in a while, who just won the title in MCW after Dusk felt like he should have won the title in MCW, but wasn't able to because of the Icons interference. So I think there's a little bit of interplay there between the character in MCW and the character in Wrestle Rampage that I'm taking on. You know, anyway, that's my moment of overanalysis. But I
also think it's probably cold in Adelaide.
It's probably cold in Adelaide. A bit of fur doesn't go half bad. But like it was fur over the chest into a cape. Like and I know that that's Duskian, but I've got to have my thing. Yeah. No, I thought this was a bloody belter. Like, just I'll get final thoughts on this match from you, Todd, before we go to final thoughts on the show. But I thought this was like. I was going to call Tommy Knight and Kaitoa an easy match of the night, and then this happened, and I love wrestling.
Yeah. I kept watching this match, and I'm thinking, like, Havoc is Dusky 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, Dusky, you know what I mean? Like, I can see Dusky in, like, say, 15 years having a young guy like him across the ring from him with fucking chain and just saying, I'm going to show you what my mate Havoc taught me.
Yeah.
It just felt like two sides of a coin. One was just a little bit older.
Yeah.
And they work so well together. The only real disappointment I have, and it isn't even anything to do with the match, is the fact that I just think that Dusk should have won a belt of this magnitude somewhere else first. And I think we all know what we're talking about.
It's a tragedy that this is the first time we've had this high watermark belt on Dusk. It is,
which is like, and that's not a shot at the national title as well, because I messaged Dusk when I saw the post that he'd won the belt, and I congratulated him, and I said to him, your name is now in a long lineage of really, really good workers, mate. You should be very proud of where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like you're following Havoc, you're following guys like Jag, Jonah Rock, Istria, Slater, I believe, has had that title. Like, all these guys are by no means pushovers. Like, you're in, like, when you talk of the best wrestlers to come out of the country, most of those people have held that title. So
yeah, it's a bit of hallowed ground there, isn't it?
100%. So for him to have his name etched in that is by no means like a small feat. I just really think that, and I get this way myself about things. Like, there'll be things where I'm lining a guy up, and I've been working with this guy for a couple of years, sort of thing. Like he's going to be ready at this time, and I'm just about ready to do something, and then I see another promotion just put a belt on him out of nowhere. It annoys me, just quietly, because I'm just I really wanted to be the first one, but I'm very smart move from Rampage to do it though. Great work,
Damian Slater, 2-time champion with that belt, by the way.
Yes.
Also, Mikey Nichols, first champ. And just looking at the list here, Edward Dusk, the 20th reign total for that championship. There have only ever been 20 reigns, and that includes, 2 from Tommy Knight, 3 from Jonah Rock, 2 from Slats, 2 from Robbie Hart. Like,
and that would have only been around for maybe 20 years, maybe?
I see that it's had its current name since 2013. First champion Mikey Nichols in 2007. Right? Yeah. So, like, less than 20 years.
But Rampages went through
just less.
Like, a lot of different iterations of names.
Yes,
like it was 01, the NWA. It was like a litany
of
names.
NWA Australia, like whatever it was, like that lineage of that title only has a handful of names ever attached to it. And it feels like Dusk just fits it. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Like, of course he fits. Yeah, Alex Fireheart's right. EPW Adelaide, right?
Yes.
So, there has been a total of 14 people hold that belt. Like, not many over almost 20 years.
And
so
I would say, without even seeing the list, there's not a scrub amongst them.
No, the shortest reign other than Edward Dusk is 134 days by Mikey Nichols, right? Like, that's the shortest combined reign, right? Like wow. So, and Matty Huss says lots of very long reigns there too, being on a dusky era. Absolutely true. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, this show was great. It had such variety. There was nothing bad, and I thought the last 2 matches were outstanding. I love Dusk's post-match promo. I can't wait to see his reign play out. Adelaide wrestling is incredible. They are very lucky. Like, as much as, I'm always have been, always will be a Queenslander, bloody hell, I wish I could be in Adelaide every Saturday night to watch the wrestling they've got going on, because it's always top shelf.
Yeah, it's fucking cold.
It's cold. I don't like the cold.
Someone who lived there for nearly 30 years, it's fucking cold.
Yeah, I thought this show was an absolute cracker.
I did, and again, this is something I love. One thing, again, I love about Adelaide too, is that it is a different style, a different promotion to Riot City. Yeah. Like, Riot City have their style. Like, Rampage have their own style. Rampage is very sort of like heavily Japanese wrestling like influenced, whereas like RCW is more your, not so much sports entertainment, but Americanized wrestling, let's just say. So it's very much you're spoiled for choice when it comes to styles in Adelaide for wrestling. So if you want to go and see that, if you want to see just like flat out, there's some really entertaining parts. Of course, you got Gothic Greg, you got that sort of stuff, but flat out balls to the wall like wrestling, like Rampage is what you want to do. If you want that entertainment factor sort of thing, RCW is probably more your thing. But again, that's just the choice you get to have in Adelaide, which is amazing.
And it's a choice you get to have literally anywhere in the world now, considering that shows like this are free on YouTube. That's right. Hit the description of the audio version of this podcast to get the link. Head on over to YouTube, search for Wrestle Rampage. You'll be able to find the show really easily. That's what I did. Like, every week, Todd sends the link in the chat to the show. I don't bother with it. I just open up YouTube and I search for the name of the promotion and boom, there it is. And I get to watch a wrestling show. It's absolutely unreal. And you're spoiled for choice when it comes to, you know, the number of shows like from Wrestle Rampage that you can watch. But also you can be anywhere in the country and you can watch Wrestle Rampage, or anywhere in the country, there's wrestling around you that's happening this weekend. Right? Special shout out to Michael Lee at Australian Wrestling Community Facebook group, who does an incredible job aggregating these lists. Let's have a look at what's going on. First of all, in ACT this weekend, Saturday, May 31st, is Slam Pro Wrestling League. We're just talking about how good they are consistently, right? In New South Wales, on Friday, May 30th, so tomorrow as this goes out live, is Australian Wrestling Superstars. And then on Saturday, May 31st, is Wrestling Goes Metal Mayhem. Up here in Queensland, we've got Atomic Pro Wrestling's Below Zero on Saturday, May 31st in Toowoomba. That's where I'm going to be. And if you want to see Todd, he's going to be at United Pro Wrestling Entertainment's Fight for Life 8. I'm going to be honest, this was a really hard weekend for me. The fact that I'd already committed to being at one show when the other one looks so stacked as well. Those are both going to be incredible shows. I don't know how you choose, honestly.
I'm accompanying Mitch to the ring against Jesse Love for a 2 out of 3 falls match. I honestly, this is a show, like the actual show, UPW show. The Fight for Life is one that I've wanted to be involved in, honestly, for a few years now, because like proceeds of it goes to cancer research, and I'm a sucker when it comes to like doing stuff like that. So it's been this show that strangely enough is a bucket list show that I've never really talked about wanting to do.
Yeah.
But I've always sort of wanted to do that. So I'm really happy that I get to do it. And I'm so tempted to just wear out as much blue as possible.
Oh,
this
you're
weekend.
Jerk. Yeah, whatever. So let's move on then. I don't care about football. What am I talking about? South Australia has Pro Wrestling South Australia's Road to Super Slam on Saturday, May 31st. Also on that Saturday night, Riot City Wrestling's Key to the City this Saturday. In Victoria, Adrenaline Professional Wrestling's got Winter War on Saturday, May 31st. And MXW Pro Wrestling's Let 'Em Cook on Saturday, May 31st. Let's highlight another show that's going on in Victoria, though. It's Oz Pro Wrestling's Generations. This Saturday, May 31st. The first match on here is the one that I'm really interested to see, and that's Tommy Hellfire versus Owen Steadman. Owen Steadman, a WRA favorite, going up against Tommy Hellfire there. You've also got JJ Furno versus Emmanuel. You've got Sam Yanis versus Amp Kava. You've got Prince Shen versus Zhang Wen. Say that 5 times fast. You've got Cutthroat Hector Jones, Rick D. Boom, and Rory Holmes, the Pursuit, taking on Jackson Atlas, Pumpin' Paul Fury, and Fat Cat Canby as the Canby Collection, and more. All the tickets in gold and silver are sold. General population, general ticketing, 70% sold. Make sure you get Gen Pop. I'm on a roll tonight. Get Robbie on the phone. Get amongst that show, Oz Pro Wrestling's Generations this Saturday. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Ranger Mitch says that they will be continuing to protest the Hater suspension on Saturday. But, of course, RCW will be fantastic this weekend, as always. Speaking of shows that are always good that are coming up, let's talk about Renegades of Wrestling Indestructible 2025, which is happening on Sunday, the 15th of June, 2 weeks from this Sunday at the Northcote Theatre. Matches confirmed so far are the Renegades of Wrestling World Title match with Mitch Waterman defending against Tyson Reed, as well as the Renegades of Wrestling Women's Title match with Indy Hartwell defending against Tarlee, and JXT versus another man with 3 initials, OLY. It's Jake Andrew Arthur, OLY. Nick Galea also just added Ozpro has Jake Taylor versus Sid Parker too, which will be a blinder. The heat in that room, unreal. It's going to be through the roof. absolutely get amongst that. Speaking of getting amongst stuff, we want to get amongst everything that's gone on around the world of wrestling. Over in the WWE, over in AEW, over in New Japan, there's so much going on. It takes so long to cover, so we need to take a breath. We will be back to talk about what is going on around the world of wrestling right after this.
One of the reasons I booked Tommy Hellfire for Oz Pro was because, frankly, I wanted another seasoned veteran in the back. Tommy has always had my back, and I hope that his presence would be good for the younger talent in the locker room. I wanted him to come out, guest ring announce an exciting young team in Ben and Breakfast, give a good old rah-rah speech about the future of Australian wrestling. However, I did not expect Tommy to do what he did at my first show.
Let me address a few things at Oz Pro Wrestling. Number one, that would be Ben and Breakfast. Now boys, I don't hate you, I hate what you represent. You're lazy, you're entitled, and you don't take nothing serious. And that brings me to Owen Stedman. Owen Stedman, you might have been their knight in shining armor. Owen Stedman, you might be Oz Pro Wrestling's next big star, but to me, you're a vagabond. To me, you ain't there yet, kid. And on May 31, I remind you, Daddy's home.
Tommy, we looked up to you. We were excited to be sharing a locker room with an Australian wrestling legend. What you did to Ben and Breakfast out there was pathetic. I didn't come out to make a statement or to take your spot. All I was doing was defending my friends. But when I went out there, I wasn't defending them from an Australian wrestling legend. No, I was defending them from a has-been grey-beard tyrant. I know this is the biggest match in my career, the PCW National Championship on the line. I know I'm going into this the underdog, but I also know that I do my best work when my back is against the wall. Reaching the brass ring, absolutely, undisputedly had you, Tommy, and you know it. You know it damn well that on May the 31st at Oz Pro Generations, I'm going to have you again. I'm going to be taking home that national gold. Forgive me.
Jesse Love, UPW. See, normally we'd start one of these things by insulting you, like I'd say something like you've got $1 million body and a 10-cent brain, and between you and Jazzy, that's at least $2 million and 20 cents. But yes. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for this one, because this is a serious promo. This is a serious promo, Mitch.
Serious.
Serious face.
Look at his face.
See, not long ago, mate, you put the call out for the best wrestlers around. You wanted to take on the best. And well,
I answered the call, brother. You see, you got these big boots, mate. You're the big fish in a little pond. And the shark answered the call. And to your credit, you pulled one over on me. Fair play. But that's where it finishes for you, mate. Because you got cocky, you got greedy, and you challenged me again. And what do we do, Todd? We came in and we wiped the floor with you, brother.
The thing about this, we don't lose twice. And now you're moving on, and you want to make this show big. You want to make 2 out of 3 falls, like you want Mitch Ryder to beat you twice in one night in front of your friends, in front of your family. See, the thing is, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have this fairy tale finish. In fact, Mitch Ryder is going to perform 2 acts of charity that night. Number 1, we're going to sell out the shed in Aussie World just for you people in cancer research, because we care.
We do. And the faces that care.
100%. What's number 2, brother?
Number 2, Jesse Love, is I am going to carry you to the best match of your entire career. Because while you
Mate, it's obvious you put the work in the gym. You've got a body that is made for posters, brother. But me, I put the work in right here. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you this Saturday night. See you there, bud.
Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world.
Oh shit! I forgot to add someone. Keep going.
He's not here yet. He's got the link. He can join when he's ready. We are going to talk.
Got the link?
It's in the chat, brother, isn't it?
No, I didn't do that because you can just add yourself. Remember?
Jeff's coming. All right. Let's. Show's on. It's too late. Man, what a night. Let's talk about what's going on in WWE, and we'll start with the results from NXT Battleground, I think. This one had the WWE NXT Women's North American Champion Sol Ruka, accompanied by Zarya, defeating Kalani Jordan to retain that title. It had the team of Hank and Tank defeating Josh Briggs, defeating the Culling, Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears, accompanied by Izzy Dame. It had Channing Lorenzo defeating Tony D'Angelo. It had the WWE NXT Women's title on the line with Stephanie Vaquer defeating Jordan Grace. It had the NXT title on the line with Oba Femi defeating Miles Bourne. And in the main event, the TNA World title was on the line with Trick Williams beating Joe Hendry to become the new TNA World Champion. And it's time for us to add in someone who doesn't care enough about Australian wrestling to join us. It's apparently Nick Galea, and I'm Jeff Setti. What's going on, guys? This is chaos. Chaos on the feed.
Hi, Jeff. You're not looking as handsome as normal, but it's good to be here. The band's back together, boys.
Going classic mode. That's good. It's good stuff. Hey, Jeff, now that you're here, tell us, mate, what do you think about Trick Williams becoming the new TNA World Champion?
I'm actually not a fan. I'm a fan of Trick. Trick is great. But
one of the reasons.
Far out. I'm doing well tonight.
What's going? Have you been having some of my medicine, mate? Is that?
Keep it in.
Hey! I remembered to add you, didn't I?
No, you didn't. I watched the show. I'm going, where am I, Todd? I'm going to go check where the boys are, and then Lachlan does this, and I'm like, he's fucking forgotten. He's forgotten.
My
and then there
fault.
was a discussion about the link.
I was popping from my own promo.
Yeah, it was a good promo, by the way. I really like Trick Williams, but I think I want to see a TNA belt be exclusive to TNA. Saying that, it's an interesting story, especially with the development on NXT this week of Santana sort of announcing himself as number one champ and there being a match next week. Santana's match was fantastic, by the way. Really.
And at least if they're going to have a TNA World title match on an NXT show, it's the main event, right? Like, it's not like they're burying the company's title.
No,
they're
not.
And Trick's like, I know apparently they've announced that they're going to have a match next week or this week coming on NXT for that title. I hope it's just a swerve of some description, and he actually drops the title back to a TNA guy on a TNA pay-per-view. That's my biggest hope, because draw some fans to actual TNA.
I also think that giving him the belt is an interesting call, because it's probably going to get NXT fans to watch TNA more than TNA fans to watch NXT.
TNA fans are already watching NXT, yeah.
Exactly. So there's not going to be an uptick there, but it helps TNA as long as, and Todd's right, as long as a TNA guy wins it at their next big show, their next pay-per-view.
And from what I heard, because I haven't actually seen NXT yet, Santana got a really good reception when he came out, apparently.
Got a huge reception and had a great match with Trayvon. Like, a really good match.
Yeah, and it's good to see that kind of talent getting promoted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's great for Santana, especially because when that match started. Todd, do you mind a spoiler? I mean,
no, go for it.
For NXT, you know the results?
Yeah.
So it was because that match started, and I thought, oh, Trayvon's got this. This is just furthering the No Quarter Cash Crew storyline, but I couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed with the amount of stuff that they've got going on in NXT, right? Like the fact that they're doing this TNA stuff and also the culling is, well, I wouldn't say they're going strong, but they're there, as well as Obafemi with the title and, all of these things. I also think it's worth acknowledging what Matt in the chat has said. It's also a good way to transition the belt without Hendry taking the L ahead of perhaps him becoming the first WWE draft pick from TNA.
It's an interesting thought, Matthew.
So, and again, that wouldn't surprise me. I heard people say, oh, look at them, burying Joe Hendry. I thought that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. WWE sees dollar signs in that man like you wouldn't believe. You don't put someone from another company on WrestleMania unless you think they're making you big-time dollars in the near future, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So, to me, that's super obvious. Let's talk about some other WWE news. We'll talk attached to that. So, spoiler alert, if you're not up to date with NXT, Ricky Starks and Stephanie Vaquer both dropped their titles this week, leading to their apparent call-ups with Jordan Grace to the main roster. Are we surprised by this movement?
Personally,
it's quick.
It is quick.
I think Ricky Starks has shown so much in the short period of time he's been in NXT. I also think there are some outstanding women on that NXT roster that, losing both Steph Vaquer and Jordan Grace is a big loss at the same time. But I think they've got people who are already beginning to step up and already beginning to show a lot of presence and promise. So, including of course Zarya. So, I think they'll be fine.
And
I'm surprised that both of the girls. I'm surprised both of the girls went. I thought maybe Jordan would be there for a little bit while with the title as another transition, but like you can't really argue it. Like she's a seasoned pro.
And I thought that she was going to stick in NXT to be, the old guard that helps the younger women for a bit longer. Like that was the surprise to me. But like, I do like JC Jane getting that title, right? And I think it's nice to see a young up and coming prospect with that title again, rather than just someone who has already established themselves over a long period of time. On the other side, Ethan Page, new champ. So that's interesting.
I think
the next that's good for the belt. It's good for the belt and good for whoever takes it off him. I think while Ricky Saints has moved up, I think Ethan Page is probably going to stick around in NXT for a while as a gatekeeper and just to get guys really red hot over.
I kind of, and I could be very wrong here, I kind of feel like you will never see him on the main roster.
You're probably right.
I kind of feel he's in that same, like, Sean Spears thing where, like, we're going to keep you two guys around. You guys can basically be on-air teachers.
Yeah. And they're definitely doing stuff backstage as well, the two of them. So, I think it's great. I think
there's nothing wrong with the Adam Cole spot, right?
No. With JC Jane, I think that she's an interesting choice. She's not the first one that would spring to mind. And what I loved even more about her winning was the shock that reverberated across that room. And even like down to the announcers and ring announcers and people like that had shocked expressions on their face. And that's kind of wonderful. It kind of sells it as a shock. I think it's great. I think
well, let's face it. No one thought that was going to happen. No one thought she was dropping the title this week. Look, no one really thought either of those titles were getting dropped this week on TV. They just come off Battleground. You would have thought if they're going to drop them, they would have dropped it on Battleground. And if she was going to drop it, she was going to drop it to Jordan Grace, not
JC Jane.
JC Jane. You know what I mean? It was just out of nowhere. Like, I like the fact that Sean tends to do that with his booking. It's not always like cut and dry what's going to happen. Like some stuff should be predictable, but then it's also good every now and then to throw in that spanner in the works. Like, hey, this could happen on any week on NXT. Yep. You need to watch any week because one week a North American title could change hands. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And we've got some similar thoughts in the chat from, first off, Alex Fireheart saying, I assume Ricky being on NXT first was just a quick test run since he's TV ready. And Matty Huss said, it's great to have NXT there to help quickly acclimatize established talent like Jordan and Stephanie to the way WWE works instead of dropping them straight into the fire of the main roster. And that's what we've seen there. But like, I definitely agree. And we're talking about how strong, like, especially the women's roster is, you know, where you've got someone like JC Jane, but there's a really strong roster of competitors in that women's scene to make it a competitive title picture, which is part of the... Yeah, go on, Todd.
Sorry, the other week they were talking about it on like Wrestling Observer, and Brian Alvarez said there are 30 women on the NXT roster.
Yeah. Plus the main roster having what I think is undisputedly the best women's roster in the world, which is why it's so exciting that the rumors of the return of WWE Evolution have become a reality. That's right. Announced during Saturday night's main event, the second ever Evolution will take place on Sunday, July 13th at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be a premium live event airing on Peacock/Netflix. That's like... It's just seemed like a no-brainer for a long time because the women's roster is so damn good. They've got so many women there. It's an easily marketable brand, right? I'm thrilled that this has come back.
Yeah, it's a second night of the 2-night thing with Saturday night's main event. It just accidentally happens to be on the same weekend as All In Texas, so that's exciting. Yeah, that's a quinkydink. But like they've got a massively stacked women's roster over WWE as it is, to the point where that first Evolution they had to call in the legends.
Yeah,
like this one they really probably
not at all. No. So here's a question for you boys. I don't know what the answer is going to be, but I got to ask. Do you think any women's matches will be on Saturday night's main event the night before Evolution?
Yeah, they'll put Chelsea Green on there because she doesn't deserve a spot on the big show. Just give her a fucking push. Sorry.
Give her a push. She had the United States title for fucking months, you numpty. How much more of a push do you want?
Still have it.
She was on every week.
Still have it. No, Todd. She should still have it. Broken Lachlan.
Oh man,
I had no idea your middle name was Mark. Anyway,
Chelsea's going all the way to the top, brother. It's fine.
If they do have something to do with like a women's match on Saturday night's main event, it would probably be to set something up for Evolution.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. There could be a multi-person match to set up main events and things like that. So I think they're well on track.
Jamie in the chat asks, are they not setting them up for failure, though, going against All In?
Well, it can go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Like, it could really be embarrassing for AEW if they all of a sudden just blast them with...
Hey, Jamie, maybe don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answers of.
but that's the thing, right? I think there's two outcomes. There's either... it looks terrible on AEW, or the women's pay-per-view had less numbers than they hoped because they were competing against the biggest show of the year from probably their number one competitor in the United States. And that seems totally reasonable.
Like, there's no such thing as pay-per-view numbers anymore, so they don't really have to worry about that.
It's on streaming. Everyone's going to watch it.
If they sell the building out, that's really all they have to say is, hey, we sold the building out 2 nights in a row.
and also, as the girl said in the commercial, why not both?
Yeah.
Why not both?
¿Por qué no las dos?
Yeah, there will be so many people watching both anyway. So I'm all about it. I think it's going to make for a great weekend of wrestling.
I can't see it drawing a crowd away from All In. Like those, I think most of those tickets are probably already sold.
I would say that's
stiff
true.
competition in Atlanta that weekend, but Atlanta is no. How far is Atlanta from Texas?
Oh, geez, it's about a 3 hour.
3 hour flight.
5 hour drive. It's about
drive.
No, actually, hang on. Atlanta, Tennessee.
Let's see the boys expose their ass on how little they know about American geography. Hey, what a great night of podcasting.
Texas is in the west. Like here's how I know geography.
Texas is in the south, Todd. I can tell you that for sure.
In the south. Yeah, it's a 6 hour drive. That's what I thought, and about an hour's flight.
Then why was it called the Wild West? It's on the western side of the country. San Antonio's in the Western Conference for NBA.
Yeah, but America's
in the East Conference.
America's messed up when it comes to geography. They don't know. They have no center. Everything's in the middle.
Hello and welcome to Making Geography Salad with your host, Lachlan Albert.
Making chicken maps. All right. Let's turn the joviality down a little. We've got a couple of not as fun stories, so we might hit through them back to back, get rid of the somber part of the podcast. So I'll run through. If you boys feel like you need to make a comment, you can stop me. Starting with the WWE side, attorneys for Janelle Grant have dismissed all claims against John Laurinaitis in an ongoing lawsuit alleging sexual abuse involving WWE and Vince McMahon. In a court filing submitted Wednesday to the United States District Court of Connecticut, Grant voluntarily dismissed the case with prejudice as it relates to Laurinaitis. This means she cannot refile the claims against him. The dismissal applies only to Laurinaitis. Grant is continuing her legal action against WWE and Vince McMahon. My concern here is I think that she has been, and again, knowing nothing about the situation from Janelle Grant's perspective, I would wager that attempting to have cases against both Laurinaitis and McMahon at the same time is more difficult than having a case against just McMahon. And
I would wager that Johnny has done a deal.
I would say so.
Evidence on her. Because it's very on brand for John. Let's put it that way.
I would wager that this is a court case, and even though we're not in the same country as that group, we should keep conversation about this to an absolute minimum.
Yep, I was just going to say that my concern here is that for a lot of people who are not as open-minded, they will see a case being dropped, and that will make Janelle lose credibility in their eyes. I think those people probably did not see her having much credibility to begin with, but I hope that this does not affect the way that she is perceived by
the
general
I don't see that. I honestly don't. I don't see that. What I see it as is John knows he's fucking guilty, and he's offered up Vince as a way to get himself out of trouble as much as he possibly can.
Again, we know nothing. This is speculation.
Yeah, exactly. Allegedly. But it's like, that's the way it seems to me. Is like, he's like, look, I'll give you Vince on a silver platter. Just drop your things against me. That's the way it looks from an outsider's perspective anyway.
We'll move on to the other not fun news, which is Jim Ross giving a direct update on his surgery for colon cancer, though he did say on X Wednesday night that it was, quote, a success. Ross's friend and podcast co-host Conrad Thompson had given an update Tuesday via former AEW employee Raphael Morphy that everything went well, but this is the first time that Ross has shared anything himself since going under the knife. He said, with surgery complete, now we begin to rehabilitate. So obviously this is good news, but this is not out of the woods, right?
No.
Cancer takes a lot out of people, and Jim Ross is not a spring chicken. We really hope the rehabilitation process goes well, but recovering from surgery is not fun, especially cancer surgery. So congrats to Jim Ross for the successful surgery, and hopefully that rehab goes well.
He wants to be at All In. He wants to commentate a match on All In. So let's hope we actually see him there.
Let's hope we get that. Let's hope we get that.
Absolutely.
It would be nice. And, I acknowledge he's not the man he once was in front of the mic, but by Jesus, it'd be good to hear him at All In, wouldn't it?
It's still special to hear JR's voice.
It is.
Like, no matter, I will talk a lot of smack about JR's commentary. There's something special about that voice.
Oh, yeah. It is wrestling. Hang on. No, we've got a question from Rosie.
All right, stop everything. Rosie's in the chat. Hey, guys, quick question. If you were living in the Wild West, what job would you have? I'd be a saloon piano guy.
Hey, Rosie, can you just answer one question before we continue down your train of thought? Can you play the piano? Honest answer only. Because if you can't play the piano, it's a moot point for you being the piano guy.
Biggest problem is he'd have a piano gig somewhere else, and then he'd only show up for the last song.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard of Rosie just showing up for that last song. He cannot play the piano. Rosie, you can't be our piano guy in the Wild West.
He'd show up for the last song.
We're doing it again.
He'd show up for the last song, and then he wouldn't know who one of the band members was.
Yeah, that's true. I'm really sorry, Rosie, that these guys are picking on you. To answer your question properly, I would be a carpenter who specializes in designing wooden floorboards for saloons so that when regular patrons walk in, nothing happens, but when a stranger walks in, they squeak and everyone stops and turns around. Yeah.
I see you as a saucy harlot.
Me?
Thank you.
No, not you. Yeah.
Me, obviously.
A bearded fucking beanie wearing fuck walking in as a saucy harlot. That's what I say.
Wait. I'd be the mysterious town journalist who just showed up one day, pencil in hand, writing a story.
Complaining about something.
Yeah, just whinging. Of course, just whinging.
Let's be real. I would be the notch on someone's big iron. Like just the second of 8 notches.
Respect to Marty Robbins. Well done.
With a big iron on his hip. Former Stardom standout Thekla is now officially in AEW. On Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, attacking former AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter. She made her debut. I am a fan of Thekla. I messaged the chat when this happened saying, love that AEW is seemingly booking exclusively for me, despite the fact that I'm not watching. What do you think of the Thekla debut, Jeff?
I actually watched this. I watched it before, just before the show started, because in Australia right now you can get Disney Plus for $4 a month for the next 4 months. So I really, and I know we're going to discuss it in a minute, but I really enjoyed Double or Nothing. So I was like, right, it's $4. I'm going to grab it for 4 months because, why not? This was excellent. This was great. She's such a unique presentation. I had seen her before, but it was great to see her debut. And they like straight in against Jamie Hayter, who's not a schmo. She's not nobody. They're going to have great matches together. I'm really all there for this. I thought this was a great debut as well. They presented her perfectly.
Todd?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of thing. They do a good, they did a bad job presenting her because they didn't even show her attacking. The camera work was like
the camera work wasn't great.
You think they would have planned out, she's going to attack her, so let's just take a photo of her entrance Tron. Because it's more of a mystery if you don't actually see her hit anyone. But it's that constant thing. Like you bring in someone awesome, she's going to be good for the first month, but then are we going to see her again, or are we going to see her on Twitter in 2 months, like Deanna Purrazzo saying, "No, if I had a match, it'd be in picture in picture." It's that constant thing of and it's a problem everywhere. It's not just AEW. Everyone is so busy hoarding talent right now that I don't know if they have enough time to put them everywhere. I mean, it doesn't excuse the fact that what we're going to talk about next, but still.
Yeah. And I guess what we're going to talk about next is an AEW Double or Nothing show that lasted, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 hours?
4 hours, 39 minutes.
Yeah. Cool.
That's the main show, not the buy-in.
Not counting the pre-show. Yeah, cool. Fun stuff. All right, let's get through some results. Now, Jeff watched this show, which don't know how you do it. You're a stronger man than I. The Owen Hart Foundation 2025 Women's Tournament Final had Mercedes Moné defeat Jamie Hayter. It tastes bad coming out of my mouth that Hayter lost that one. I knew it was going to happen, but it doesn't make it sting any less, right?
I'd been saying when we've been running through the card and I've been hosting in your stead, of course, Lachlan, I've been saying, Mercedes Moné will defeat Jamie Hayter in 8 minutes and 17 seconds. I was 13 minutes off, but, the result was exactly what we thought. And I'm fucking sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah. And Matty Huss in the chat. That's why Jeff was late. Double or Nothing only just finished. FTR, accompanied by Stokely, defeated the team of Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness with Matt Menard by referee's decision. So I'm really glad that we're getting Nigel McGuinness, after all this time, all the rehab that he would have been through, all of those struggles. We finally get him back in the ring to lose by referee's decision while teaming with Daniel Garcia. Worth that long, hard road to recovery, I think. Any other thoughts?
It's always good to see Nigel. It's always
this was a Dynamite match that should never, ever, ever have been on a pay-per-view.
Cool. Do you want to just record that clip so we can play it for half of these? Sorry, I'll go on. Yes. In a stretcher match, Ricochet defeated Mark Briscoe despite having his head waxed and shined. So that definitely happened. The AEW World Tag Team titles were on the line with the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, accompanied by MJF, defeating the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. I don't think anyone thought the Sons of Texas were going to win that one.
Play the soundbite.
Should have been on the... Yeah, cool. Yeah. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, why the sarcasm, Lachlan? This was a really good show. I'm sure it was, and over the next 3 weeks I'll watch an hour of it a day and I'll feed back to how it was.
The thing, Andy, though, like, it wasn't just one really good show, it was like 3 really good shows. That's the biggest problem.
Exactly.
And it's the problem with AEW the whole way along. Like, the shows are too long. I know people are just like, but they're getting your money's worth. You'd be complaining if you paid $50. No one's been complaining for eons that they pay $50 and get a 3-hour show. No, so the fact is, and Lachlan, you will back me up too, right? When we went to AEW Grand Slam, a good 20% of people left before the main event because it just went too long and people wanted to go home. Easily. Yeah. So, like...
And I think for the people...
Like, it might be awesome that you get to watch it at home and that's sick like that, but for a live crowd, it wears them out and a lot of them leave.
And when it comes down to it... Sorry, go on, Jeff.
I was going to say, I'll be honest, there were matches of this where I faded in and out. I just kind of went, especially the tag match, Hurt Syndicate against the Sons of Texas. I'm sure it was great, but I was on my laptop. I had some work to do that night, so I did a little bit of work for the day job. I had other bits and pieces to do. I had brainier shit to do. So I was doing a lot, but this match... It was just way too long. I agree with you both.
Sorry, jumping on what Matty Huss is saying in the chat, but the sickos, won't somebody please think of the sickos? And I love the comment, Matt. Here's the thing. We're the sickos. It's us. Yeah. I'm the one that has a podcast every week talking about pro wrestling. And I know that I was at work for 6 hours today and then 3.5 more hours I'm going to have to spend watching this wrestling show that I'm going to enjoy. There's a lot of good wrestling on this show. I'm sure of it, right? It's just that I haven't gotten to watch it yet, and I don't know when I will get to watch it because it's 3.5 hours of a wrestling show plus a buy-in if I choose to skim through that for a lot of results that either I don't care about or I could have completely predicted, right?
I got blocked by somebody on Twitter today because they were just like, I don't know why you just don't watch half of it like on one night, then another half on another night. I said, what? So you mean, say I could watch 3 hours of it on Sunday and then maybe I can wait till like Thursday night and then watch the other 2 hours? Oh, hang on. They already do that. We could maybe call it Dynamite.
Yep.
Yeah.
We could maybe do that.
And they've got a stacked roster. I'm not arguing that. The matches are good. I'm not arguing that. It's just that because they cram so much stuff in, and they're always, because of that, then making more content. They're not giving me things to care about. I'm going to talk about something later. I'm going to give AEW my chicken salad for once. Like that's where I'm at for part of, and for storyline stuff, not for content, not for wrestling, for a story that they're doing that goes, oh, I'm actually interested. I care. I want to follow what's going on there. Because when they do that for the one storyline a year they decide to do it for, it's really good. If they did it for 6 storylines and then had a 6-match pay-per-view, I'd love it. But they don't. Anyway, let's move on and talk more about these results. For the AEW Continental title, Kazuchika Okada defeated Mike Bailey. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to love the hell out of that match.
So good. It is so good.
Like,
it's such a good matchup.
Yeah, obviously. God, I'm excited to watch that. I don't know that it being in the middle of the card is exciting, but it's going to be a good match. And Andy from Bob Backenford just says, oh, see, for my defense of the show, my chicken shit is a big old AEW one. Yeah, exactly, Andy. Right?
My honestly, love this match, but the wrong person won.
Mike Bailey... I don't know why Mike Bailey isn't one of the biggest superstars in the world. What a talent!
Like, to be honest with you, Okada had to win this so he could drop that to Ospreay at All In.
True.
Yeah, you're probably right from the booking perspective. Fair point. Well made.
We'll get our Mike Bailey world title run later. AEW Women's World Title, Toni Storm defeated Mina Shirakawa, and I believe they made out. That's all that I'm seeing on social media about this.
Made out. Like, as much as a 1930s passionate movie actress can make out, yes, they made out. This was great. Sorry. This was fantastic.
Again, of course it's good. It's Storm and Shirakawa. Like, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Right. Alex Firehart says, I honestly assume we're getting Okada-Omega title unification at All In, but who knows, I guess.
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible. That's another possible idea as well.
Yeah. Anarchy in the Arena. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, and the Ops, Shibata, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe, with Willow Nightingale, accompanied by Prince Nana, defeated the Death Riders, Castagnoli, Moxley, Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta, and the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. Jeff?
This is the dumbest match I have ever seen. It was fucking great. It's so funny. It's better than any other Anarchy in the Arena because they pretty much stuck to let's be in front of people and do this. So they went within the realms of possibility instead of just, oh, we're going to wind up on top of the building and blah, 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 blah. No, this was so silly and such fun. And the right team won. And yeah, everything was good about this. Really enjoyed it.
Judy Strickland on a forklift. We also got the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher, obviously accompanied by Don Callis, but also by Lance Archer. They defeated Paragon, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong.
Play the soundbite.
Could have been on Dynamite. And then in the Owen Hart Foundation 2025 men's tournament final, Adam Page defeated Will Ospreay in a 37-minute match.
You don't need to worry about anything else. Just watch this match and go, holy fuck, that's great. That is, yes. I needed this in my veins. It was so good. It is such a good match.
There's something special about main event Adam Page.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it works. It hits. It goes hard. And Will Ospreay's Will Ospreay. So
yeah. I mean, Will Ospreay is one of the finest workers in the world. And like Paige is just chef kiss good, really so good in this role. And the great thing about it is you had no idea who was going to win. I didn't read spoilers. I saw it on Monday night and I just watched it and went, holy fuck, that is a great match. No complaints. Like if you don't catch anything else in this show, watch this match. Yeah. It really is great.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, Jeff, but overall thoughts on AEW Double or Nothing 2025 is essentially a few really excellent matches surrounded by a lot of stuff that didn't need to be there that bloated a card.
Yeah, and way too long. Like each match, the shortest match I think was 12 minutes. Yeah, the shortest matches were 12:38 and 12:48. That's just way too long. They could have done the same matches in 10 and had the crowd.
I just did some real quick math, right? And if you drop the FTR match, the Ricochet match, and I think it was like Don Callis match, and maybe even the tag titles, you would have dropped 65 minutes from that show.
And that becomes a perfect show. That becomes a perfect show. But this main event, wow. If you don't watch anything else, watch the main. You won't regret it.
Alex Fireheart with the comment, 4 matches over 20 minutes was a bit much. Yeah, especially when one of them is 37, right? Like, don't get me wrong, there's shows with 37-minute main events where I like that, but that's because the show is about that match. And on this, they had a 37-minute main event, but it was match 9 on the card. Like,
and
you're tired by the time you get to it.
There was a match 2 matches earlier that ran almost 36. So it, ran just over 35 to 36. So
as much as I don't like the extended like ads and stuff in between matches on WWE, at least they give you that breather. Whereas and I'm not a fan of it at all. I'll be honest with you. You could cut that shit out, and those shows would be like 2 hours. Yeah. Get me out of there. Sick.
And even look, I really like Okada still. I think Okada's still got some great matches in him, and he showed it in this one. And gosh knows Mike Bailey's amazing. But that match could have been on Dynamite. It really could have.
Yeah. That's not one of the ones I would have cut, though. I would have cut FTR.
No, I wouldn't.
I would have cut Ricochet. I would have cut the tags, and I would have cut Don Callis.
Yep.
I definitely would have cut Callis. I would have cut the tags. I would have cut Ricochet. Yeah, I probably would have cut the same ones as you.
Well, that Callis match didn't even get made until fucking Collision the night before.
No.
So that didn't even have to be on the show.
And look, it's great that Kyle Fletcher's on. It's great that Alexander's on and Konosuke Takeshita's on. And obviously Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Roddy Strong. Great to see them on shows. You want to see these guys on shows. But for fuck's sake, this was exhausting.
Alex Fireheart in the chat is pitching an intermission with Renee hosting a panel in the middle of the show, talking about the matches, interview people who competed in the first half, etc. Definitely an idea, though. Alex,
I don't mind the idea of a halftime show. I don't mind that. As someone who watches sport, I can get around that because I'm used to watching a halftime show.
Yeah. Order the pizza delivery while there's no match that you're missing out on. Like, that sounds pretty good to me.
I gotta get a pizza. Sorry.
Someone has been on the medicine.
That's the most I've ever sounded in my life.
Well, let's move on and talk about a very competitive Best of the Super Juniors over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The A Block winner of Best of the Super Juniors 32 has been determined, and it's from a massive 10-point logjam at the top. A 5-way tie for A Block, all on 10 points. Kosei Fujita, Francesco Akira, Clark Connors, Hiromu Takahashi, and, of course, the GOAT, Master Wato. But because Master Wato, apologies, I need to get the name right, otherwise my disrespect will fly across the world and I'll be punished for it.
You don't want the Wato after you.
That's true. But the tiebreaker has been determined with a 3-1 record against the other competitors after wins over Hiromu Takahashi, Master Wato, and Clark Connors. The winner of A Block is Kosei Fujita, the Ichiban Sweet Boy himself. We love to see it. Very excited about that. B Block, still with some chaos sitting in there. El Desperado, Yo, and Mao all sitting on 10 points there, with a big tie for 8 points, which is where Robbie Eagles is sitting. Some very tight blocks here this year for Best of the Super Juniors.
But it's basically between Yao, Mao, and Despy, isn't it?
Yes, they're basically the ones we can win.
Robbie's ineligible at the moment.
Yes.
Sadly.
Yeah, I believe mathematically eliminated is Robbie, unfortunately. So it's that idea of even if he wins the last match, then he won't win on tiebreakers. So
somebody that's more au fait with New Japan complete. Which one is Yo and which one is Sho?
Yo is the one who joined Evil.
He's the one that I picked, isn't he?
He's the House of Torture one. Yeah.
I can't remember which one of us picked. No, you picked Show.
No, I picked Yo because the House
It's
of
written
Torture
down
one's the one I
somewhere.
liked. You would have picked Show then because I picked the House of Torture one.
One of us picked one and one of us picked the other, and we can't remember who. I thought I picked Yo because that's who I meant.
There's always clashes over what we pick, whether it's in these brackets or it's what we pick for the thing that we named the show after, making chicken salad. That's right. We get to talk about the things that we... He's good at what he does. We get to talk about the things we loved and the things we hated from the past week of wrestling. Let's get this shit out of the way and talk about our chicken shit for the week. Todd, have you got something to bitch about?
Well, I've got a couple of things, so if Jeff wants to go first, he
can steal a couple of them and leave you with at least one. Jeff?
There's a couple of things. Firstly, this morning, I'm obviously concerned about Zoe Stark. I think a lot of people are. The injury looked particularly nasty. So I Googled Zoe Stark, and somebody had done up an AI video of her announcing her retirement. I think we're going a little bit too far. Don't be that fuckwit. I mean, that's just nasty. Because all it takes is one American newspaper to put it up, or a news outlet or a sport outlet to put it up, and off it goes and it catches fire. And that poor woman then has to turn around and go, well, actually, no, I'm fine. It was some idiot with AI. Just fucking stop. It's not worth it.
How many times have celebrities woke up to go, I'm dead? When did I die?
Yeah. It's just, but don't do it. Like, don't be that guy. It's just fucked. I just really, really don't like that. And the other thing I don't like, and I hope this isn't stealing one of yours, Todd, but Booker T should stop fucking commentating and trying to put himself over at the expense of talent. That's just fucking, that's the worst. He is so bad. So bad. I can't ignore it anymore. I spent a long time ignoring it, but you just can't. He's getting that obnoxious. That's
Todd?
me. Okay, in the past, week, I think I've seen 3 different incidences where someone's career could have ended or been very, very, short. First one was on Double or Nothing with Mercedes Moné with that roll-up on...
Yeah.
She was very, very close to breaking her neck on that one. If you watch that roll up again, that was headfirst into, and then we moved to Monday Night Raw, and Pentagon nearly made Chad Gable a paraplegic. I don't know how Chad Gable rolled out and then caught Penta or Dragon Lee or one of them 10 seconds later. I don't understand how that happened. And then maybe 3-4 minutes after that, he got kicked in the face by Vikingo and broken hard way.
Yeah.
Monday was not a good night for. And then we moved to today, where Kyle Fletcher goes to give Adam Cole a power bomb on the apron, the Kevin Owens one. Really, really misjudges it and nearly either breaks Adam Cole's neck or nearly gives him a concussion from it. He missed by an absolute bee's dick. We just need to be more safe out there. It's so close. The line between a cool move, which someone will go, that was a cool move, and then not think about it again. And the line between, hey, that guy broke his neck on this move, he's in a hospital now, is so very fine. Very fine. People just need to be more careful. Is it a cool spot? Yeah. Do we need it here? Probably not. Do I need to give you a power bomb on the corner of the apron on a Wednesday? Probably not. Do I need to give someone a cop killer while I give you a pile driver? I could probably get away with not doing that.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's I just worry that one day it's not going to turn out well, and there's going to be a Droz incident on a live show.
Yeah.
And that Droz incident was really a nothing move. That was a leg drop.
Yeah.
No, it was the running powerbomb.
Was it? I thought it was a leg drop off the top.
No, it was D'Lo's running powerbomb.
The top.
No, it was D'Lo's running powerbomb. It was.
D'Lo didn't do it.
Yes, it was. It was
Did
absolutely
D'Lo
D'Lo. It was absolutely D'Lo in the match with Brock.
I was sure it was the leg drop. There you go.
No, it was the running powerbomb. Sadly, I know because I was a massive D'Lo fan. I was such a big mark for D'Lo, and then sadly,
emotionally for D'Lo, it was bad.
Yeah,
sadly, I mean, like as bad as it would never.
But again, routine move.
Just a routine
wasn't
move.
Extravagant.
No. But I agree with you. These kinds of spots are terrible.
And my other chicken shit is just like American wrestling at the moment. There is not anything I'm looking on both brands where I'm going, I cannot wait to see that match. There's nothing I'm really enthused about at all. Like I look at stuff in Australian wrestling and say, wow, I really want to see that match. I really want to see that match. I don't give a shit. I really don't give it. Like, do you give a shit about John Cena at the moment? What John Cena's doing? Like, really? Is there a match you can go, I want to see John Cena. I want to see this John Cena match. Is there a match that you really want to fucking see?
Here's my perspective on that, right? No, I don't think any of the three of us are going to be in Perth.
Yeah, because we're not needing to. I don't feel the need to go. Like, even with like, I like that Jey Uso is the champion. I don't give a shit about anything he's doing at the moment, though.
Yeah. And his matches are good. His matches are solid.
Good, I just don't like. Maybe the rematch with fucking Gunther. I'm a little interested about that, but aside from that, and I don't care about. I could give a shit who wins between Adam Page and John Moxley. I don't care. And it's not because of Adam Page, it's because of John Moxley. I don't give a shit about that angle anymore. I don't give a shit about the Death Riders.
I do have one more, sorry to interrupt, just while we're talking about matches we care about, because I am beginning to care about Mercedes and Tony. They're doing a reasonably good job of promoting it and putting it together. But their segment today on Dynamite went way too long. And they're running the risk. Mercedes Moné is not a good mic worker. She speaks like she's got a mouthful of marbles.
Yeah, she constantly speaks like she's like got chewing gum in her mouth.
Yeah, and it's not. When you in there against Tony, who's got great diction because her character drives that, and Tony's naturally got good diction anyway. Then she's got to lift her game, and it just really exposed her. It really exposed. And maybe I'm looking for it because I'm
that's coming up. Shit though. It's like Australian wrestling. Ranger Mitch says it. Australian wrestling clears American wrestling easily at the moment.
Yeah,
there's so much more things that I'm more excited to watch in Australian wrestling is what there is in anything in. Like I've got Double or Nothing. I bought Double or Nothing. I still haven't watched it. I might sit down and skim through it, but nothing enthuses me about anything to do with American wrestling at the moment.
Yeah,
at all.
Let's jump off what you're saying, Jeff, with Alex Fireheart's chicken shit. Highly likely that they'll not give a shit about Tony versus Mercedes at all in. Saddest part is it's actually a story with Tony and Hayter that they've just let slip. If Tony keeps it, I hope we come back around to Tony Hayter for the title. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, chicken shit, if Anarchy in the Arena is lighthearted fun, why involve your big soul of AEW is at stake storyline? If it's this big feud-altering match, why are they doing dress-ups and jokes? And why is everyone back on Dynamite today suffering no consequences? The match doesn't have an identity. Matty Huss with another chicken shit here. Can we just stop with the way it's fixed already? It's never cooked as an ongoing concern. Without clear direction and payoff, even the most compelling streakiness gets lost in the shuffle. Matty Huss's original chicken shit was Rick Derringer's sad passing reminds us all of just how trash WWE entrance music is nowadays. What I'd do for modern day themes, quality of here comes the axe! Here comes the
Christ. Did you have to do it so close to the mic, bro?
That's what he said.
Now, Matt, we will never talk of that again. But on your chicken shit regarding the Wyatt Six, I was furious that they interrupted a match the quality of the Street Profits and Fraxium for that fucking garbage. It was just hot garbage. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So angry.
Well, to be fair,
Right.
like it wasn't just them; it was everyone. Everyone kind of interrupted into that match. So
Yeah, but it was a good
Okay,
match.
Can I have one more? And like,
Go, Todd, and then I'll
I
get
don't know
mine.
Yeah. Can somebody just please, like, just give us a 90-day moratorium of Will Ospreay on podcasts?
Bruv.
Like, if I have to hear one more time him telling me how great AEW is and how much it clears, I wish, with my heart, 10 toes down, he talked about New Japan Pro Wrestling like that when he was the actual fucking champion. If he promoted New Japan like that, maybe they wouldn't be in the fucking shape they are in now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It just fucking annoys me. If you have to keep telling me how good someone is, I don't believe you after a while. I just don't.
My chicken shit's a bit weak this week, so I've got something extra allowed at the end. AEW's next... Yeah, thanks. AEW's next event that they're doing, again, it's like for some reason, 4-hour wrestling show that's a week after their big pay-per-view on Max, right? But that's not the complaint that I have. The complaint that I have is, remember when wrestling shows had themes, right? And I get that, like, you know, it's less and less, and like there's a vague gambling in Las Vegas theme to All In, and that's something, right? Fighter Fest is a joke at the expense of a thing that happened 8 years ago. Why are you still promoting a Fyre Fest parody? Nobody remembers what Fyre Fest was. It happened 8 years ago.
Didn't they try and do it again not too long ago?
They did. Do you know why you're asking that as a question? Because nobody paid any attention to it. Because Fyre Fest was 8 fucking years ago.
Right. All right.
Right? Like, why is this your show? It's fucking stupid. Anyway, as I said, that's not a much of a chicken shit, so I'm just going to add a new little segment in here that's a really focused chicken shit and chicken salad for me this week. It's a chicken shit and chicken salad all about getting a tattoo that matches your dad's tattoo. Right? I have a good one and I have a bad one. Right? The bad one is Gage Goldberg got his dad's iconic Goldberg tattoo. Now, I'm not going to talk too much shit about that tattoo, and I'm not going to say
some
why
of us
I
make
want
mistakes.
about it.
All right.
But the year is 2025. Having that shit on your arm as a, what is he, 20, is dumb as hell, right?
Some of us didn't know Goldberg was going to end up being Goldberg. Some of us just like the design.
No. Some of you got it back before the wheel was invented, and I'm fine with that. But like, if you're Gage Goldberg, like, really, you're going to get the same tattoo as your dad? What you should do is look at someone like Dominic Mysterio. I know, weird of me to talk about how much I like something Dominic Mysterio is doing. Have you boys seen Dom's new tats?
The ones on the knuckles?
No. So you know how Rey Mysterio has the eagles that are part of his mask, and he got the eagles along the collarbone to match it? Dom got skeletal decaying versions of those eagles that his dad has around his collarbone.
Oh, that's
they are unreal.
I know. I listened to. He was talking about that on the Stephanie McMahon podcast. Because I listened to the one with Dominic, because I like Dom, so I want to hear his story. And he was talking about the tattoos he's got on his knuckles as well, and they are awesome. He's got like tattoos. The tattoos on his knuckles are of all his uncles or lucha, like legends. Yeah, so like he's got a tattoo of like La Parca's mask, like Juventud's mask, Psychosis mask, Santo, Mil Mascaras, like just across his knuckles. I'm like, that is fucking sick. Like,
yes, it's very cool. Anyway, that was my little subsection on getting tattoos that match your father's tattoos in professional wrestling for the week. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Now, let's now that we've had that little adventure, let's be positive for a little bit. I might start with my chicken salad, if that's all right, which was just a little bit of, sometimes I like to acknowledge when AEW is telling a story, because when they do and they remember their history, it... by the way, obviously my chicken salad's Evolution. I'm excited for Evolution. When AEW are good at telling a story and like focus on what's happened, it's actually interesting. Because, yeah, you're welcome, Jeff, for stealing yours. The idea that Will Ospreay is here going, we need to kill the Death Riders. We need the title off John Moxley, bruv. Hey, Swerve, bruv, and Hangman, bruv. We need bruv to take the title, bruv, off of Mox, bruv. And Hangman and Swerve go, yeah, I'm not working with him. Anyone but him, not him, right? These are characters that have a memory of what they have gone through, even though they are on the same side of the heel-face alignment. They fucking hate each other, and they're never going to get along. So it just won't... Like, I love that.
I tried that, but we had to add him back after the break.
Boom, boom. Jeff, I think I stole yours there. Do you want to add any more to that?
Oh, it was excellent. The whole presentation, like, you know, a Hangman coming out and barely getting a word out, and bang, there is Swerve just giving it to him. Just great. Really, really well put together. He, you know, you could see genuine raw anger between the two of them, and with their history it makes sense there'd be anger between the two of them. And like the video involving the Bucks was a really clever callback as well. It was just a really, really tidy piece of work. And hey, don't you know it's going to get me tuning into more AEW, so it's done its job.
Yeah.
So go to Todd, and then I'll have a chicken salad. Like,
Todd, salad?
It was Tony Storm on commentary. I'm trying to quickly think if I can find it, because it made me laugh so much when I heard it, and then somebody had actually put it up on X. It just made me laugh. I'll see if I can quickly find it. I will, but otherwise I'll paraphrase what she said.
Well, I'll go ahead then and just drop in my other one, which would be that main event on Sunday, Ospreay against Page. Like, as much as I was moving around on Monday night when I was watching it, that match just held me completely and is fantastic. But there's no real surprise with those two. Lovely, lovely match, and just really nice little coda at the end of it. So, yeah, very, very, very good match. And all the women's title as well, Tony against Mina, was excellent, because even though they're friends, they still beat the shit out of each other, which was wonderful.
Okay, so here was Tony Storm on commentary, like today, with Mina Shirakawa against, I think it's Mariah May? I can't remember. She said, you think I'm here just to make more sexual innuendo? I'll have you know I'm just here to make direct sexual comments on everybody.
Fantastic stuff.
Oh, and Luther is doing such a wonderful job. He really is. He's not overplaying it. He's just great.
Yeah, we've also had Andy of Bob Ackland Fridges says chicken salad. One thing WWE has announced that I'm super excited about is Vikingo versus Gable. Yes, absolutely. By the way, I want to acknowledge Matty Huss, who said he looks forward to AEW Woodstock 99. Matty Huss also says his chicken salad is Joe Tessitore. I can't get enough of his work. He brings such a legit professional broadcast feel to SmackDown, and his SNME intros are top shelf too. Look, if you want, here we go. Alex Fireheart's chicken salad as well was Hangman winning the Owen Hart tournament. Everyone I know was assuming Ospreay would win, but I died on the hill. Hangman had to win and has to beat Mox at All In. Mind you, it will absolutely be a chicken shit if for some reason Hangman loses at All In. I hate to say it, Alex. I can feel it in the air.
That's right. Goldberg is coming back to fight Gunther.
Yeah! It's all right. Get your son a matching tattoo. That's the message we've learned from this week. But I want to say that I do fully agree with Matty Huss about the work Joe Tessitore is doing. Like, it's so nice to have someone who sounds like a commentator be commentating. I'm really enjoying it. And
when we first announced that he was coming in, I said to you guys, you were going to love this dude, because he's a sports announcer. He will announce it like you're watching ESPN. It's awesome.
Yeah. He's a professional broadcaster, which is exactly the opposite of what we do, right? So if you want to keep up with some more unprofessional broadcasting like we've done tonight, make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia. It's free. You do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that subscribe button. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you could give us a rating and review, that really helps us get into more ears, especially a 5-star review. You can follow us on social media at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram. Todd is at Beast Eastman. I'm at Lachlan Albert. Jeff doesn't do the social media game, but he's got at Wrestle_Brainia to keep up with the Wrestle Brainia stuff. Jeff, tell us about Brainia.
Brainia is coming back. Yes, by popular demand, and I mean popular demand, and certain people in the chat even rocked along and did stuff on our stage. Wrestle Brainia is coming back in the second half of this year. We will be announcing some dates soon, so give us a follow. And keep your ears tuned to Making Chicken Salad because we'll be announcing it here really, really early. And tickets will be on sale in about 3 weeks.
Wonderful, and you'll need something to wear along to those events. Can I recommend the Wrestle Radio Australia merch, which is on Redbubble? The proceeds don't go to us; they go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, 2 awesome charities that support men's mental health here in Australia. And if you're looking for merch, another place that you can get it is Kickout merch, kickout.com.au. Merch of your favorite Queensland wrestlers from around the country. If you are a wrestler and want to get amongst it there, you can head to the Kickout merch Instagram page, message them there, and organize getting on there. But other than kickout.com.au, which I'm going to say the URL of again. And if you want a URL, you can actually head to WrestleRadioAustralia.com, where you can find those links with a URL that I need to update the subscription for very briefly. So reminder to myself. That's right, unprofessional broadcasting. Jeff, is there anything else that you want to mention, mate?
I just want to mention that people should watch NXT at the moment. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely. Todd, anything else to mention?
Just that if you're in Queensland and you're the Sunshine Coast area, at least get to Aussie World, the Shed Aussie World this weekend. UPW have Fight for Life 8, raising money for cancer research. I will be there with Mitch up against Jesse Love and Jazzy. 2 out of 3 falls. The 2 matches they've had so far have been really, really good. I expect this one to be just as good, if not better, because Mitch is hitting a purple patch at the moment with matches he's having. They're really fucking good, and Jesse's a really good worker as well. So this is going to be a good match.
Yeah, if you're in the Toowoomba area, come hang out with me at Atomic Pro Wrestling. We're going to have Below Zero there, but if you're anywhere else in Queensland, I do highly recommend getting along to UPW for Fight for Life and raising money to support cancer research there. And can't speak highly enough of Mitch Ryder's work at the moment. Holy cow, that dude can go right now. See him before he's, signed to AEW, honestly. But with that, this has been Making Chicken Salad for another week. Thank you for joining us here on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. Please, those people like Andy and Alex Fireheart and Matt Huss, who are always in the chat, getting amongst it, talking smack with us like Rosie, come along, be a part of it. It's awesome fun. We love doing it. So on behalf of Mr. Jeff Setti and Mr. Todd Eastman, I have been Lachlan Albert. Until next time, have a good one.
Have you seen I've got the new... the Joel Bateman Japan Tour shirt. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit.